Faith-based story. Sifting through the noise, discovering the truth in a sea of sources. Title: Finding the Right Source. Once upon a time, in a quaint little village nestled between rolling hills and a babbling brook, there lived a young man named Samuel. Samuel was well liked by his friends and neighbors. He was known for his jovial nature, always eager to share a laugh and a story. However, there was one particular aspect of his life that caused a ripple of concern among those who cared about him: his marriage to a woman named Abigail. Samuel and Abigail had been married for a few years, and while they had their share of ups and downs, they were generally content. Yet, Samuel had a peculiar habit that he couldn't seem to shake. Whenever he and Abigail had a disagreement, no matter how minor or significant, Samuel would immediately seek solace and advice from his friends. He was a talkative man, and it was no secret that he had a knack for spinning a good yarn. One bright spring morning, as the sun's golden rays painted the village in a warm, welcoming light, Samuel and Abigail had a quarrel. It was, as most disagreements are, a minor dispute, one that could have been resolved with a simple conversation. But Samuel, being who he was, couldn't resist the temptation to seek counsel from his friends. His closest confidants, Elijah and Daniel, were always ready to lend an ear and offer their perspective. Samuel recounted the argument to them, adding his own dramatic flair to make the story more interesting. The problem was that Elijah and Daniel, like Samuel, enjoyed a good story. As a result, they often found themselves swept away by Samuel's animated retellings. The advice that Samuel received from his friends, while well-intentioned, often carried a certain bias. They encouraged him to be the man of the house, to assert his dominance, and not let a woman dictate his actions. Samuel, eager to please his friends and assert his masculinity, began to heed their counsel. As time passed, he started making decisions without consulting Abigail, believing that he was doing what any grown man should do. Meanwhile, Abigail, who had always been patient and understanding, found herself growing more and more frustrated with Samuel's actions. She had always appreciated Samuel's friends and was glad that he had a support system, but she couldn't ignore the fact that they were fueling their disagreements. The misguided advice was creating a rift between them that was steadily widening. One day, after another argument had left their home filled with tension, Abigail made a decision that shocked Samuel. She decided to pack her belongings and leave their matrimonial home. Samuel was taken aback, but his friends, especially Elijah and Daniel, commended him for finally taking a stand. "Good for you, Samuel. A real man knows how to handle his woman," Elijah exclaimed. Daniel added, "You don't need her telling you what to do all the time. You're the head of the household." Samuel, intoxicated by their praise, felt no remorse or sadness about Abigail's departure. He believed he had made the right decision, and his friend's validation only reinforced his belief. Weeks turned into months, and Abigail settled into a small cottage on the outskirts of the village. She missed Samuel, but she was determined not to be in a relationship that made her feel unheard and unimportant. She hoped that Samuel would come to his senses, but as time went on, she grew increasingly disillusioned with the man she had married. Samuel, on the other hand, continued to live his life as he had before, ignoring the pleas of his family and neighbors who urged him to reconcile with Abigail. He was convinced that he was doing the right thing, even though the emptiness he felt in his heart grew with each passing day. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the village, Samuel found himself alone with his thoughts. His friends, Elijah and Daniel, were nowhere to be seen. The realization struck him that he had been seeking advice from the wrong sources all along. He began to reflect on how his friends' advice had led to the unraveling of his marriage. He understood that he had become so engrossed in being a man of the house that he had forgotten what it meant to be a loving husband. He remembered the warmth of Abigail's smile, the gentle way she used to stroke his cheek, and the laughter they had shared. Realizing the gravity of his mistake, Samuel decided that it was time to take responsibility for his actions and find a way to rebuild his relationship with Abigail. He knew that his friends meant well, but their advice had only driven a wedge between them. It was time to find a different source of guidance, one that would help him mend his broken marriage. Samuel set out to find Abigail, determined to make amends. He had heard from a neighbor that she had taken up a job at a local bakery, and he decided to start there. As he approached the bakery, his heart raced, and he wondered if Abigail would be willing to give him a second chance. Inside, the bakery was a warm and inviting place, filled with the delicious aroma of freshly baked bread and pastries. Abigail was behind the counter, her face lit up with a smile as she served customers. Samuel's heart skipped a beat as he watched her from a distance, wondering how to approach her. Finally, summoning his courage, Samuel walked up to the counter. Abigail's smile faded for a moment when she saw him, but she didn't say a word. Samuel took a deep breath and spoke, "Abigail, I've been a fool. I've let the wrong advice guide me, and it's cost us our happiness. I want to make things right. I want to be the husband you deserve, not the one my friends thought I should be." Abigail looked at Samuel, her eyes filled with a mix of emotions. She had missed him, missed the life they had shared, and she longed for things to be right between them. After a long pause, she finally spoke, "Samuel, I've missed you too, but it's going to take more than words to mend what's broken between us." Samuel nodded, his determination unwavering. "I know it won't be easy, but I'm willing to put in the effort. I want to learn how to communicate better, how to be the partner you need, and how to put our relationship first." Abigail smiled, a hint of hope in her eyes. "Let's start by talking, truly talking to each other, and listening too. No more seeking advice from friends who don't understand our relationship like we do." Over the following weeks, Samuel and Abigail embarked on a journey of rediscovery and reconciliation. They learned to communicate, to compromise, and to appreciate the love they had for each other. They realized that being a grown man didn't mean ignoring one's partner's needs and feelings but rather, embracing the responsibilities that come with love and marriage. As their love rekindled, Samuel gradually distanced himself from his well-meaning friends, Elijah and Daniel. He appreciated their friendship but knew that seeking advice from them had led him down the wrong path. It was time to find the right source of guidance, and for Samuel and Abigail, that source was each other. The village watched in awe as the couple, once on the brink of divorce, began to thrive once more. Samuel and Abigail's love story served as a reminder that seeking the right source of advice and being open to change could mend even the most broken relationships. In the end, Samuel learned that being a true man of the house meant being a partner who listens, communicates, and cherishes his spouse, rather than one who follows misguided advice. Their journey taught the village a valuable lesson: sometimes, the right source of wisdom is not in the words of friends but in the heart of a loved one. And so, Samuel and Abigail's love story became a beacon of hope and a reminder to all that sometimes, the path to happiness begins with finding the right source of guidance, the one that truly understands your heart. As Samuel and Abigail worked to rebuild their relationship, their story continued to unfold, with valuable lessons that resonated not only in their village but also with those who heard about their journey. Abigail's heart began to soften as she saw Samuel's genuine effort to change. One evening, they sat together in their cozy cottage, and Samuel began to read aloud from a well-worn Bible they had received as a wedding gift. The passage he read was from Ephesians 4:32, "Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you." Tears welled up in Abigail's eyes, and she reached out to Samuel, saying, "I forgive you, Samuel, for the hurt we've been through. Let us be kind and compassionate to each other, as this verse teaches." They embraced, and in that moment, it felt as if a heavy burden had been lifted from their hearts. The act of forgiveness brought them one step closer to healing their marriage. As time passed, Samuel and Abigail attended marriage counseling sessions with the village elder, who had been married for over 50 years. In one of these sessions, they discussed the importance of rebuilding trust in their relationship. The elder shared a verse from Proverbs 3:5-6, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your understanding, in all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight." He explained how this verse, while rooted in faith, also applied to trust in a marriage. Trusting in each other and submitting to one another was essential for the success of their relationship. Samuel and Abigail took this wisdom to heart, learning to trust each other again, bit by bit. They became more transparent about their feelings, fears, and dreams, creating a strong foundation for their renewed bond. With every passing day, Samuel and Abigail rekindled their love. They took long walks by the babbling brook, much like the early days of their courtship. The peaceful serenity of nature allowed them to reconnect and have open, honest conversations. One evening, as the sun set, Samuel recited the Song of Solomon 2:16, "My beloved is mine, and I am his." With tears in his eyes, he said, "Abigail, you are mine, and I am yours. I want to cherish and protect our love with all my heart." Abigail, touched by his sincerity, replied, "And I am yours, Samuel." Let us always remember that our love is a gift from God. Their renewed love and commitment became a testament to the power of rediscovery and the ability of two hearts to mend the deepest of wounds. The news of Samuel and Abigail's journey of reconciliation spread throughout the village. Their story served as an inspiration to others who faced relationship struggles. Many couples began to seek advice from the right sources, focusing on open communication, forgiveness, and understanding. Elijah and Daniel, Samuel's well-meaning but misguided friends, took notice of the change in Samuel's life. They approached him one day, admitting their role in the difficulties he had faced. Samuel forgave them, for he had learned that forgiveness was the path to healing. The village elder, witnessing the positive transformation of Samuel and Abigail's relationship, decided to hold weekly counseling sessions for couples in the village, helping them find the right source of guidance and support in their relationships. As time passed, the village saw more flourishing relationships, with husbands and wives learning to appreciate and communicate with each other, just as Samuel and Abigail had done. The village thrived not only as a community but also as a place where love and understanding became the foundation of strong families. Years went by, and Samuel and Abigail's love continued to grow stronger. They often gathered their friends and neighbors to share their journey, emphasizing the importance of seeking the right source of advice and understanding in a marriage. One sunny afternoon, the couple stood before their friends, reciting the Bible verse that had become the cornerstone of their renewed love, 1 Corinthians 13:4-7, "Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres." Their friends and neighbors, deeply moved by their story, felt the weight of the verse and its profound wisdom. Samuel and Abigail's love had become a living testament to the enduring power of love guided by the right source. The village continued to thrive, not just as a place where people lived, but as a community where love, understanding, and the guidance of the right source created strong, lasting bonds. Samuel and Abigail's journey was a reminder that even in the face of misunderstandings and misguidance, love could always find its way back, with patience, faith, and a willingness to listen to the heart.